All right, we are on turn 16. This is the Hypnotic Specter game. I'm on Jotunheim. This series is about getting into the late game decision making and talking through kind of the branching spiderwebs of decisions in a extended campaign of Dominion 6. We have been battling our way out of the hole. We made a lot of early mistakes and got rather unlucky with the map generation. But that is life in Dominions, especially when you rely on the random map generation to try to do something fair and balanced. It's part of the fun of the game. And last game, I would say I was at the favorable end. In this game, I was definitely on the unfavorable end. That being said, my human opponent is Machaka, and from what I have scouted, they don't seem to be faring all that well themselves. What I immediately noticed this turn, and I started to realize it last turn, was that Machaka is at war with Vanheim. So Vanheim declared war on us. Simultaneously, Machaka went to war with Vanheim, and they kind of did us a favor by taking away the two primary entry points into our domain from Vanheim. So now we can just kind of sit back and continue to execute our game plan. As I said earlier, probably around turn 10, our focus is really going to be on optimizing our internal territory. So like immediate territory near and around Jotunheim, we still have a number of neutral provinces to take. We've got some battles to cover, so we'll get into that here in just a second. But yeah, let's see how this turn plays out, and I'll talk through the rest of my decisions once we watch these battles. So this one was in Spire of Ascension. This was just a small force militia, heavy infantry, and archers. Let's take a look. This was not a great fighting force, but I just wanted to take the province. We've got these hurlers that are mostly for sieging and to back up the sacreds. I just want a backline. They can kind of nuke down any sort of cavalry that runs at my sacreds and might try to burst them down. You can see the hurlers only have 2 ammo on these boulders, and the precision's pretty bad, but they do a tremendous amount of damage if those boulders hit, and so large clumps of units, somebody's going to get hit. And the thing is I'm going to come out the better end of that exchange no matter what. Like if the boulder hits one of my sacreds, it doesn't really matter because they're going to just regenerate it back. So Spires of Ascension, we lost a couple of these guys, which we kind of figured that would be the case, but it's worth it for the cap circle around Mir. Let's watch this battle. We've got our prophet here, casting Divine Blessing. These guys don't need to be casting Blessing, but they're just scripted that way because I'm too lazy to change it. And yeah. Let's take a look at let's track their HP. So I want to, specifically on this run, I'm running Blood Bond with regeneration, so half of any damage done to the unit will be transferred to nearby sacred units. So it's a way to kind of spread out all the damage and allow all of the sacreds to better regenerate. So you can see that, like, yeah, we'll just watch. Run this through, and they're going to start routing. And as you can see, as their army starts routing, you can see we've got these Gaudy Huskarls that are pretty injured. We've got these Boulder Throwers that are pretty injured, but not a single point of damage on these Thermshirtings. They have regenerated it all back. These guys are going to be very difficult for anyone to burst down. I know that there are a couple spells in the game that can do, burst damage on a single target. I don't know that Machaka is going to have access to those and be researching for it. So those are the battles. Let's see, site searching. Okay, so immediate priorities. So that was the battle in Panofia. From Panofia, we are going to take Aenidra, and I'm going to jump down my list. We already talked about Machaca and Vanheim. Yeah, so the next immediate goal is to get a third fortress up in Aenidra. So when I looked at the availability of resources, you can see Aenidra has the single highest amount of resources available, including from the sinks, and Glavia. Now this will cannibalize a bit of the resources from our capital, but at this point we're okay with that because we really just want to be recruiting sacreds out of our capital. And we're going to get the most benefit from getting administrative bonuses in Aenidra, pulling from provinces around it. So this is going to be a third location of our fortress. I'm still looking over here to try and figure out what I want to do, but yeah, this is just kind of whatever for now. We're really kind of focused on the eastern side, so getting the infrastructure around in place here. We took Spires of Ascension, so we have to take Towers of Heaven this turn. And then our first throne, I think that we'll go for is this Glistening Wood throne. This looks so easy to take. It's Lion Tribe Warriors, Lion Tribe Archers, and Light Cavalry. Like, I had harder provinces in the farms next to my capital. So, I feel like we're going to take an easy victory here. We'll probably move these units down into Mirror, and then we'll move straight into Glistening Woods once this turns into a fortress. Site searching, we have not been site searching. We've been struggling a little bit, so we're trying to play a bit of catch up. I started this. Why is that the... You know what? That's the wrong mage. I didn't mean to site search with that mage. I meant to site search with these ones, but that's fine. So she's going to search. We're going to get that kicked off. I am also recruiting one of these Yarn Vidyas, and we're gonna try to transition to recruiting more of these so that we can get better diversity of magics. And ideally, this person would be able to cast some meaningful conjuration spells that help us with our patrol, and just help us, with some utility units in our inner circle of the province, so that we're not just kind of relying on the edges of our territory to hold the line. So we want to have some rotation of units on the interior, so that if we have barbarian raids, knights, any of these event stories, if we get unlucky, we can deal with it quickly. Talked about that. The lakes. We are going to take the Storm Province with a small force, 8 total Sacreds, and then we're going to move to Typhoon Sea, and we'll take Sinks eventually. So we're pretty well tapped out. We've got a plan for pretty much everything on our interior at this point. It was very slow going, but that's okay. I think we're good now. Hubberton, that was a negative event. There's a cult forming in Hubberton, so we have to get some patrol units going there. So that kind of checks that box. The only other thing to call out is in Spires of Ascension, we got a second location to recruit scouts from, so we're just getting scouts on repeat from Anglavania. I don't know why I have such a hard time saying that word. Anglavania and Spires of Ascension. This is really important for new players. Get scouts, put them in provinces, put them on height and weight in critical provinces. I'm able to see the majority of what's happening in Machaca. I should probably send a scout to Machaca, but I really want to see what goes on with his war with Vanheim, because he's taken Silverwood and then he took Pine Grove, and at this point he is one hop from Vanheim's capital, and I have a feeling that he doesn't have enough to take it. So we're going to be scouting out Vanheim. We need more information. We need to get this scout to Vanheim quickly, and we need to see kind of what he's doing around the cap circle here. I actually assume he's already taken Peskin. So if he's taken Peskin, 3 Pine Grove, that means Vanheim's only collecting from 4 provinces at this point. And if he can't defend his capital, then he's going to be in big trouble. But I actually think that Vanheim probably has a lot of units sitting on his capital, and Machaca's not going to be able to just hold the capital. These are difficult AIs, so they get a 30% bonus to all supply, resource and recruitment points. I think that's it. Hopefully this is a short one. I am trying to knock this out and get through some of the early turns quickly. Again, at this point, the focus really needs to just be secure our territory. We're doing fine for provinces at this point, especially when I scouted out Machaca's provinces. they'll probably push into Vanheim, and then we'll be pretty well evened up on provinces and probably income. So from a player-to-player perspective, like we're pretty dead even. The unknown factor is what happens with Nazca, what happens with Nabaa. So we'll see. Peace.